Jalen Brunson is leading the NBA in playoff scoring this season, and he is becoming one of the most underrated superstars in the entire NBA. The New York Knicks haven't had this kind of playoff success that he's brought them the last 2 seasons in quite some time, and he has a chance to bring them to their first conference finals appearance in many years. And this season, he has really turned over a new leaf and become a bona fide superstar in the NBA. After being drafted in the second round in 2018 by the Dallas Mavericks in a draft class that included Luka also going to Dallas, Jalen Brunson was not expected to be a superstar caliber player or possibly even a starter at all. He was expected to be a solid bench player for a team that was trying to rebuild after the Dirk Nowitzki era. And in his first couple of seasons, he averaged 9 points and 8 points respectively, starting a handful of games, but not really taking a leap as a starting level player, especially as he came into the NBA as a 22-year-old. But it's his 24-year-old season in his third year in the NBA in 2020-2021 that he really took his first big leap as an NBA player. And he averaged 12.5 points in 25 minutes per game and started 12 games and won the 6th Man of the Year award. And the next year, he made an even bigger jump in his final season with Dallas, averaging 16.3 points. And in the playoffs, he averaged 21.5 points a game in 18 games as Dallas went to the conference finals and eventually losing. But he made such an impact that he signed a big deal with the New York Knicks. And at the time, this was considered to be the Knicks' biggest signing in a while, but Knicks fans, including Stephen A. Smith, wanted the Knicks to sign other players that had more name value and had done more for more amounts of time throughout their NBA careers. But I think it's safe to say that this investment has paid off massively for the New York Knicks. In his first season in New York in 2022-23, Jalen Brunson averaged 24 points, 6 assists, and about 5 rebounds on amazing shooting splits of 49% from the field and 41.5% from three. And paired alongside Julius Randle, who's another big acquisition for the New York Knicks, this team was looking like a strong contender going into the Eastern Conference playoffs. And while not a lot of people expected them to knock off the Bucks or the Celtics, they definitely had a shot to do so. But after winning one series in the first round of the playoffs, they were eventually beaten 4-2 in the second round series against the 8th seed Miami Heat. And that's where the playoff run ended. And Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle both faced a lot of criticism and a lot of rumors based on their poor playoff performances. And while Jalen Brunson averaged 28 points per game in the playoffs, he shot the ball considerably worse and wasn't the same player as he had been in the regular season. And due to this, there's a lot of talks around the Knicks organization last offseason as people were questioning whether Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle could really compete for a title in New York and whether the spotlight was too bright for them. And Jalen Brunson was questioned as he had only been Luka Doncic's wingman so far in Dallas, and was he capable of taking a team to the promised land as the number one guy and number one option in a team's offense. This season, however, Jalen Brunson has come out and proved that he's a superstar level player both in the regular season and now in the playoffs. After Julius Randle went out early in the season, the Knicks were thought of as a lost cause, and no one really thought that this team could make a deep playoff run or make any noise even in the regular season. But they ended up as a top seed in the Eastern Conference, and Jalen Brunson was the main reason for this, averaging 28.7 points per game on 48% shooting from the field and 40% from three, which is a lot better numbers on equal efficiency to last season, while his co-star in Julius Randle was out. And with Tom Thibodeau putting a lot of pressure on his starters to play heavy minutes, and Jalen Brunson averaging 35.4 minutes per game, which is the highest of his entire career, he showed up in a huge way and has really orchestrated this team's offense and led them to a second round playoff appearance so far, and has the Knicks up 3-2 against Indiana in their second round series, and they have a legitimate chance to make an Eastern Conference Finals appearance for the first time in a very long time. And throughout this playoff run, Jalen Brunson has asserted dominance over the entire NBA and is averaging 33.9 points per game on 45% shooting from the field and 30% from three, but has been amazing throughout most games throughout this playoff run. And he was banged up for a couple of games for the Knicks in this second round series, which allowed Indiana to kind of get back in this series. And he did not play as well as he normally has and did not play up to his standards, which led the Knicks to drop those 2 games. But in a crucial game 5, he came out swinging and had a 30-plus point performance again and led them to a massive win, which puts them up 3-2 in the series and have a chokehold on the series and are looking to face Boston in the conference finals. And while Boston is a really tough opponent, anything can happen in the playoffs. And with the way that Jalen Brunson is playing right now, this team I will never count out in the NBA playoffs, because with a guy such as Jalen Brunson who can take over a game at any moment and do so on efficient shooting splits, you can't count out a team that has a player like that. And you have other guys surrounding him that have been massive for them, like Josh Hart, who was a teammate of Jalen Brunson at Villanova in college for 4 years. So you really cannot count out this New York Knicks team. And there's a lot of credit that has to go to Jalen Brunson for leading the NBA in playoff points per game. While it is in heavy minutes, this team has just needed him so much with injuries to Julius Randle earlier in the season. OG Anunoby has gone out for significant portions of time, and Mitchell Robinson has missed time, so they don't have the players or the warm bodies to even have a deep rotation. So Jalen Brunson has stepped up and in big minutes has put up big stats and has led this team to 1 game away from a conference finals appearance. Let me know if you think that they could potentially beat the Boston Celtics in the conference finals in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. God bless you all. I hope you have an amazing day, and God bless.